Yo, what is going on, Melts Apple? It's got Hikertoad here, and we are here with NPL Week 3, and this week we are going up against Base Techno, coach of the Carolina Pantherians, really good friend of mine, and someone who we've battled a few times on the channel, and just in other leagues as well, really good player, very solid, so definitely going to be a good match. I definitely recommend that you check him out. His link will be down below in the description, as well as all of the other NPL coaches, as well as the NPL channel, which is really organized right now. Craig's been putting in the minors games into like playlists for each week, so that's really cool for him. So definitely recommend you check it out. Really easy to access and all that. But yeah, just going over Tech's team. He has the Mega King, Viscon, Zapdos, Greninja, Sylveon, Zygarde 10%, Amoonguss, Lycanroc Dusk, Buzzwole, Steelix, Cryogonal, and the Spiritomb. So looking at his team, it's very interesting. He made something to note is he made some transactions before this week because it's week 3 and trades were allowed like right this week. So the first 2 weeks we had to use our draft, but he decided to get rid of Jellicent and Incineroar for the Lycanroc Dusk and the Spiritomb. That's why it has that little pink color, because it's traded. So basically what that kind of tells me, well, it doesn't really tell me anything, but what it means for this matchup basically is it really helps out Zard because he got rid of 2 of his like actually good fire resists for something that doesn't resist fire and something that pretty much just doesn't resist fire, being the Lycanroc, as his other 2 resists are Greninja and the Zygarde. So basically Zard kind of just tears through him just looking at it. So once again, Zard has a really good matchup, so that's something that I really want to really try and capitalize on in this matchup. So looking at it, his team has, like I said, the Greninja, Zygarde 10%, and the Lycanroc Dusk, and all 3 of those are really big threats. So because of that, I actually really like webs here, because webs allow Charizard to really just tear through his team even further and just make its matchup as good as possible. So we have the Rakuten here, just like Spidef and a bit of defense, mainly here for like just to help take on stuff like Grain and like most importantly the webs, and like as well as it's a decent arrows resist if he's like locked into it and banded, so it's really cool. So yeah, what I really wanted, like I kind of said, what I really wanted to do is kind of build around the webs, because webs really stop his fast mons, and I think that with the webs up, if his fast mons are neutered pretty much, I can just easily break through his bulk. Like, I have no trouble with Charizard or like Terrakion breaking through stuff like Mega Kangaskhan and Sylveon, like Zapdos. I can just set up and break past those, and if webs are up, then I can just outspeed his offense and pretty much just win. So definitely if webs are up, that's really good for me. So just have Charizard, 2 attacks, Dragon Claw, and Fire Punch, pretty much 2 KOs everything, and Dragon Dance just because, yeah, I can get the boost, and if you want to spray like a Scarf Zygarde, or Scarf Grand, or Scarf Lycanroc, I can outspeed those at +1 under the webs, because it's essentially +2 for me, so that's really good there. So next up we have Terrakion. Terrakion is my other sort of behemoth under the webs, really like it here. Aerial Ace just for Buzzwole, Stone Edge and Close Combat hit everything else. Sword Stance under the webs pretty much just demolishes like everything. He doesn't have a good response to it. He has Spiritomb, but it really doesn't check this all too well. Like, I still do a good chunk to it. And I have Shuka because stuff like Lycanroc Dusk is a huge threat to my team, as well as it's another check to Zygarde. And it's really nice for Zygarde, especially because, like, I don't like my arrows resist is Quilladin and Whimsicott being weak to Steel and Poison, so if he wants to like Sludge Wave or like Iron Tail, he can just hit that. And Quilladin isn't like the best mon, you know, it's a 1-pointer, so yeah, not the best. So definitely more responses are better. So I really like that. But to actually top it all off, I kind of lied. We have offensive Steela this week. Everyone probably expected me to just bring defensive every week, but we got offensive with the Rocky MZ here. That's really nice. basically can just do a lot to the Zapdos if it's Charity, or just straight up knock it out. And with an Autotomize up, Air Slash, Heavy Slam, Stone Edge pretty much just OHKOs his entire team if he brings like offense. And if he wants to bring a more defensive type of team, then he's just subject to getting broken down by my Charizard and Terrakion, and then I can just clean with my Celesteela late game, as I do get the attack boost once I get a kill, so I can just start sort of rolling in the beast boost. So that's really, really nice there. So we have next up the Yuxi. Yuxi's a really bit interesting, not too interesting, but like I have Reflect basically, and Reflect is really nice because I know Tech is a player, and I know one thing that he really dislikes playing is random screens. And what's more random than having just one random screen, and not even like Clay on just a random mon? So I really like that. But basically, it really helps versus physical threats like stuff like Zygarde, Lycanroc, and even Buzzwole. Buzzwole's something that I think is really slept on in draft at the moment, and it's definitely not something that I want to sleep on and just be subject to it. So yeah, that's also why I'm like really fast on my Yuxi, so I can outspeed the Buzzwole. So that's really, really nice. And just Rocks, because I didn't want to have the move slot on Pylo, and then Toxic just helps with his fat stuff. I have Toxic on Araquanid as well, just because like to wear down his fat stuff, that helps it even more. And I also have Toxic on Piloswine, which is what I really wanted. Also, Rocky Helmet, most like another reason why I brought this is for the Kangaskhan. I was kind of weak to Kangaskhan. Like Celesteela offensive, since it's offensive, doesn't really deal with it too well. I just get worn down by like Thunder Punch, and I don't have Seeds or Protect, so or Leftovers. So yeah, it's something to note there. And Piloswine is just really nice here because it can check the Zygarde for 10% mainly. It can throw off Toxics. It's really good for Zapdos. I definitely needed something for Zapdos because that's like 100% coming, because he needs it for Celesteela, otherwise he just gets destroyed by it. And yeah, that's pretty much it for the team. Basically, webs are really good here, so if he doesn't break removal, we're looking good. So I'll be back for the battle. Yo, what's going on, guys? And we are back with the battle against Techno. Looking at the team that he brought, just hopping right into it, he has the Zygarde 10%, Greninja, Zapdos, Lycanroc, Dusk, Cryogonal, and the Buzzwole. Well, our team, if you did not check the builder, is Charizard, Dragon Dance, Dual Stab with Roost. Celesteela is Rockium Z, Autotomize 3 attacks. Terrakion is Sword Stance, Dual Stab with Aerial Ace with Shukaberry. Araquanid is like mixed defense with the webs. Yuxi is Rocky Helmet with just Toxic, Reflect, and Stab with Rocks. And Piloswine is just Toxic with Dual Stab. So, looking at the team that he has brought, he did bring Cryogonal, so he definitely has spin. As if he had just Zapdos, I would be kind of like confident in saying that he doesn't have spin. I mean removal, just because you can't really fit it on Zapdos versus a team like mine, I feel. But he does have the Cryogonal, so that's something to keep in mind. He did bring those 3 fast mons in Zygarde, Greninja, and the Lycanroc, so that's definitely very annoying if those can get out of hand, so I have to make sure I keep those in check. But just looking at this team, his only rocker is Lycanroc Dusk, so I could definitely see that being like a Focus Sash Endeavor Lead with just rocks, to potentially take something down and get rocks up for the Zard, and as well as the Araquanid. So I'm just going to lead off with my Piloswine, expecting to potentially lead with that, as he leads with this Buzzwole, so that's really good on his part. That pretty much forced me to switch out turn 1. And no way he ever Leech Lifes there, because pretty much if he's like expecting a switch, he'd most likely just go for Stone Edge or Thunder Punch if he had it, expecting the Charizard or Araquanid respectively. So I think and I can take a Leech Life if he does go for it anyways. So this is just a really good play. I can get up my rocks right here, which is really nice. And I can potentially start getting up my screens and doing all of those shenanigans. So that's really, really good. As I'm just going to set up my rocks, he's going to take this as an opportunity to set up his rocks as well. So I'm just going to take this as an opportunity to reflect up. And so now, expecting him to most likely go into the Greninja, because Greninja, Yuxi can't really do much to the Greninja. I revealed Reflect and Rocks. I could potentially have Thunder Wave, but I don't think it's something that is extremely likely. It could be a thing, but I think that Greninja could be a fair play here, so I'm going to actually double out into my Celesteela, because basically what that does is, if he did go into the Greninja, I could pretty much just fire off my Rocky MC for free, because I either kill the Greninja, or I can hit the incoming Zapdos for really hard damage, so that's really, really nice. As he's actually going to the Cryogonal, which is really cool, because basically he takes the Rock's damage, and pretty much Rocky MZ is just free here, because he either stays in and dies, or he goes Zapdos, and I get a lot of damage off on that. So he is going to go into his Zapdos, as I am going to go for my Rocky MZ, and I am going to go and pop his Shardy. So he's Shardy, so that's kind of annoying, but that's whatever. So I'm expecting the roost right here. I'm just going to go into my Terrakion, as that is what he does, just try and keep this healthy. But he does not have a good switch into Stone Edge, so I'm just going to go for that, and I'm going to kill him off. So that's really, really good. So I'm really happy about that, as he's going to go into his Buzzwole to revenge me, as the Reflect does wear off. Once again, I think that he is now more likely to actually Leech Life, because I did go into Yuxi originally, and he might maybe not fear this Terrakion. But however, I can take a Leech Life even if he does go for it, and I'm fairly confident that this isn't Scarf to Buzzwole, and if it is, then that's just free setup for me on the following turn after he knocks out the Yuxi. So basically right here I can just go into my Yuxi, as he is going to go for the Leech Life, so that's a really good play on his part, catches me with that, as he's going to take some Rocky Helmet damage after he recovers some health, and I'm going to go for the Reflect. Basically, I was expecting the Greninja to come in, because basically I've kind of revealed that I'm max HP and I have a bit of defense, but I'm not fully invested, so it could lead to me being speedy, but as well as I think Greninja, like I said earlier, I think Greninja is obviously it's kind of a free switch into this. He might not know that, but I think regardless it's still something he could try and do if he wanted to be a bit cheeky. So I'm just going to go for my Reflect, and even if he does stay in, I'm still in a decent spot, as now I can bring in my Charizard, because I have the Reflect up and I'm not really too worried about whatever this thing can go for. So I'm going to go into my Charizard, and I'm going to Roost, because that is my best play by far, in my opinion. I don't think there's any drawback to Roost, because if he goes into his Lycanroc or Zygarde, trying to be aggressive and take a fire move, then I can just Roost up and I can just kill them off the next turn, or potentially try and set up. If it also counts for Gran, if he went into Greninja, I can Roost up and then take a hit the next turn, so that's really, really good. So I'm just going to Roost up, as he's going to fire off the Earthquake, and he is going to crit me. So yeah, that's pretty big. He did reveal to me that he is Aqua, which does explain why he stayed in, but at this time I'm not really sure what his item is. I haven't gotten any damage off on him besides the Rocky Helmet, so I don't know how bulky he is. So I can't go into the Terrakion to revenge him, because if I go into Terrakion and I go for the Aerial Ace and he ends up being Koba, then I just straight up lose, because he knocks that out and then he outspeeds the rest of my team, and I can't really do much about that. So pretty much at this point, because I don't really know, because I can't risk that with the Terrakion, and because if the Charizard was alive, I would have been able to at least get a hit off the next turn, and I could have, even if Zard got crit on the next turn, I could have at least just sent out Terrakion at that point, because I know that it would have killed, and I could have prevented my Celesteela from being heavily weakened, because I think this is my best play at this point, to unfortunately have my Celesteela be pretty much just sacked off to this, and at the cost of that, which could have been avoided. So that's definitely unfortunate, because pretty much Celesteela with Heavy Slam kills Zygarde, kills the Lycanroc, and kills the Cryogonal, and does heavy damage to the Greninja, which I do need on the Greninja if he wants to do that, because I am not packing the Leech Life on my voice crack on my Araquanid, so that's very important, getting damage off on the Greninja. So yeah, as he's going to just revenge me with the Greninja, so I'm just going to sack this off. I don't have a good switch into this with the rocks up. Araquanid kind of just gets whittled. But I am going to go into that now, and I'm going to go for my Sticky Webs, because I think that's sort of my best chance of winning at this point, as he goes into his Lycanroc at this point, trying to just sack it off, because it's probably by far the least useful member of his team. He needs Cryogonal for Spin, he needs the Greninja for Terrakion and Pylo, and then the Zygarde, I think, has more utility than this, because it has the stab 1,000 arrows, and it can also, if it's like Z, it can do a lot of damage to my Araquanid. So yeah, this is a fair play on his part, as well as liquidation wasn't very likely for me on that turn, so it's really good for him. So I'm just going to go into my Piloswine here, as he's going to just go for the Solrock. Interesting play. I'm not sure why he didn't just edge. I guess he just wanted, actually no, because he probably just wanted 100% damage instead of like risking a Stone Edge miss and then me being at full. So I guess that makes fair. So yeah, I guess that's fair. But yeah, I'm going to go to my Piloswine, and now it's going to get a bit interesting because Cryogonal is a free switch into this if I do not go for the Stone Edge, and I do not pack the Stone Edge. He does not know that, but the likelihood of him expecting me to go for Stone Edge here is probably low. So my sort of thought process here is, or it was at least, because this is post-con, but it was that he's going to go to Cryogonal now. So if I go Terrakion, then can't I just snap a kill? And that is true, except for the fact that I missed one key detail, as he's just going to go for the drill run and pop my Shuka. That pretty much he doesn't lose anything by sacking this. He doesn't need this. He originally sent it in to sack it off. He didn't care if he had this or not. So why would he ever risk his Cryogonal, risk his Cryogonal on a potential like Stone Edge, when if webs don't get off, if he doesn't get rid of webs and the rocks, then he probably just loses the game. So that would have been a choke on his part, which I guess is fair, which is the only real reason why I'll ever justify that play, just because I think that at that point I probably had to bank on him just trying to choke, but that was just a fair play on his part, just hacking this off as he does here. So yeah, he's gonna just do that, and he's going to die to my Earthquake, and on the following turn he is going to send out his Cryogonal. I'm Cryo. But yeah, he's going to send that out. Free spin. This is another questionable play. I don't know why I don't think it made too much of a difference, sorta. But basically, I don't know why I didn't just go Terrakion here on the spin. He had to spin 100%, so I don't know why I didn't just go into the Terrakion there. I could have kept this a bit healthier, because it's almost in range of rocks, which is 12% so I can only switch it in like 1 or 2 more times depending on the rolls, because you don't really know with Showdown, because it's 25%, but it might be worse. So yeah, now I'm actually going to go into the Terrakion. I'm like a turn ahead. Yep, okay. So now I'm going to go into my Terrakion, pretty much sacking it off. That was kind of my play there, because looking at it without the webs, which I don't see myself getting up, and my Shuka being broken, this loses to both the Greninja and the Zygarde. So the only thing that this does beat is the Cryogonal, so I pretty much just send it in here, hoping maybe he recovers or something if he has that, because Terrakion's pretty much just useless at this point. So I'm just going to sack it off as he does go for the Freeze Dry. And on the next turn, I'm just going to go back into my Pilo. Pretty much I wanted him to take up some Life Orb and toxic damage. But unfortunately, Showdown is very cruel, and I'm at 12%, so I will die to rocks. So what I could have potentially did is, after I kill this, I could have just swapped out on the Gren potentially into my Araquanid and potentially done that. But yeah, he's just going to go ahead and try and sub down here, basically to try and make it so my Araquanid has no chance of winning if I leech life him. He doesn't want, if I leech life, I get the least amount of HP as possible, because his Zygarde actually, he did reveal to me, is Choice Scarf to check the Charizard and not see Outrage, so he kind of needed to do this here. So yeah, I'm just going to sack off the Pilo, going to go out into Araquanid now, and I'm just going to fire off the Liquidation. It's like a roll here, so I potentially either just lose 1-0 or I lose 2-0, and I'm just going to go for the Liquidation, and we're just not going to kill. So yeah, we're going to lose 2-0 to Techno. Good game to him. Unfortunate, the hacks definitely did suck a little bit, but it's definitely not hacks that I'd say I won 100%, but it's more so just kind of hacks that really just put me on the back foot. And but however, I do think that there's always for the most part, there's like in your losses, there's usually something that you could have done different, and I think that not having leech life really did kind of just hurt me. I think that's like if I did have leech life, I actually still could have won even with the hacks if I had kept my Shuckleberry on the Terrakion and not played so aggressive with that. So I definitely think that not having leech life really just kind of bit me right here, as I could have had it, as I was debating having that or the infestation, because infestation traps his stuff, but leech life is really good for the Gren. So take notes. Just make sure that your count your checks to Amon can actually touch it. So, but yeah. Okay, so that was probably like a weird like cut right there, but basically I did things and stuff, and yeah. So basically, figured that I'd update you guys on a few things. First thing being we made a few trades. Basically, what we did is we dropped Whimsicott and Araquanid for Decidueye and Comfy, and also we also had to drop our little boy Coolin right here, which is unfortunate. Basically, the kind of plan was I was a bit unsure about these trades. I kind of considered taking them back, but just because Whimsicott was something I really actually wanted to try out because it looked like a lot of fun, and it is a really nice utility mon, and we do lose a bit of speed from this, but I really do like Decidueye and Comfy. They both have a few new tricks up their sleeves now. Both get defog now. Decidueye had it before, but I'm not gonna go too in depth of like what they know, what new stuff they got, because some of my opponents might not know. So yeah, it's something really cool to see. Unfortunately, Araquanid as well is a cool mon that I am going to be getting rid of because well, webs are like really cool and like good to experiment with when you have a mon that's like not complete garbage like Galvantula. It's like I kind of had to drop something, and I felt like that was kind of it was kind of thrown on there. Like it was like my like 11th round pick, and I kind of just picked to get something with really good spit F, and I kind of have that again with the Decidueye and Comfy. So yeah, and I unfortunately just had to drop Krillin because I needed the extra point to make the trades. So yeah, rip my boy Krillin, and it's kind of sad. I'm gonna be going from 2 grass types to 1. And speaking of grass types, next week we are going up against Carney Hobo, the master of all grass types. But that upload will actually not be until 2 weeks because next week will be a break week for uploads. So gonna be no upload next week, so that's kind of sad. But yeah, that's pretty much it for this little short end segment. So if you did enjoy, make sure you drop a like, comment, and yeah.